Hey, what's up you guys? So in my last video, I went to Kohl's looking for a very specific stress ball, which I ended up finding, but along the way, I found a bunch of animal stress balls, which kind of caught me off guard, and I kind of thought they were a little funny. I found cats and dogs, I found an alpaca, I even found a sloth stress ball. I've never even heard of something like this before, so I thought it was kind of funny and I'd try it out. So in this video, I'm going to be unpackaging this, giving you my initial impressions, and then taking it through the week for a test drive. When I first saw the sloth and the alpaca, what went through my head is these are kind of big. I actually never used a stress ball this large before. Typically, I use ones that can fit in my hand, things like this. So, I was joking to the camera about how I'd be, at the gas station holding this thing, trying to pump gas and holding something this big, and even walking through the grocery store. Things that I do throughout the day using stress balls, right? Anytime I go somewhere, I'm holding this thing. And so, I'm kind of interested to see what this is actually going to be like since it's so big. If it's actually going to be comfortable to hold, if it's going to be comfortable to use, or if it's going to be sort of awkward to walk around with. Other than that, the packaging kind of caught my eye. Obviously, they've shown the sloth. It's really big there. And they've got this sort of jungle theme going on here with the green packaging, and they've got these leaves, these graphic leaves. So I think that was kind of cool. But, what I wish they had here was sort of like maybe a hole in this hard plastic that I could feel the sloth, right? Because you want to sort of be able to feel the stress ball and gauge, what it's going to be like, what it's going to feel like, what the resistance might be like, things like that. And so, as I was looking at this packaging, I couldn't help but wonder to myself, what is this actually going to be like to use? You can't really squeeze the hard plastic too much and get a good feel for what this is going to be like. But other than that, I'm ready to open this thing up. So I'm just going to tear this thing open and get right into it. Okay, I'm not happy off the bat. As I tried to open it, this is what it looks like. The packaging all around the plastic came off. So I had to figure some way to get this thing out of the plastic here. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I finally got it out of the packaging, and let me tell you, it was not easy. I had to cut open the plastic with some scissors, and I think I may have even cut this guy open on the neck right there as I was using the scissors. I'm really not a fan of any kind of products that come in that kind of packaging. It makes it so difficult to open up. But I'm hoping the rest of my experience with this guy is going to be a lot more fun and a lot more interesting than that. Off the bat, I took a few squeezes of it, and like I said, it is kind of awkward to fit in the hand. Again, I typically like things that just fit in the palm of my hand like this, but again, with this, you don't really get that. So, that I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how that plays out. It squeezes well. It has some, it feels nice when you're squeezing it. It's not liquidy. It's not, you can tell there's probably a lot of foam in there maybe. It's looks like inside made like with what I see other stress balls being made with. So it's some decent material for sure. So otherwise, I'm excited to take this through the week and come back and give you my final review on this. Okay, so you ready for this? The head fell off literally about an hour after I started using it. The head of this thing actually popped off. I think it's partially my fault because, like I said, when I was taking it out of the packaging, I think that I might have snipped the side of the neck with the scissors just a little bit, so it had that cut in it. But you know what? Every time after I would squeeze it, that cut just got larger and larger and larger until the head just popped off one of those times. So I ended up just testing out the head of it this week, and you know what? I gotta say, I'm actually impressed. As crazy as I looked, just walking around with a sloth head with nothing on the bottom, I actually ended up really liking this. There actually even came a point where during the week my anxiety had really started to spike at this one moment, and I started squeezing this, and because of how well this bounces back every time you squeeze it, I squeezed it for maybe 30 seconds to a minute straight without stopping. And after that time, my anxiety like just real, I felt relieved in a sense, right? Like all of a sudden, I was able to start coming back down to normal. Now, of course, that's not going to, solve whatever problem is triggering you, right? But at the same time, it was able to bring me relief in the moment, you know what I mean? Make me feel a lot better, allow me to sort of deal with what was going on at the moment, right? And so, I gotta say, whether whether the head's on or not, the material on these things is really quality. I'm telling you, high quality. I'm actually really liking this, and I'll tell you why. Whatever's in here, like I said, it bounces back when I squeeze this, which is really important. And now I've only used it for about a week here, so as you go on with any product, it's gonna sort of probably, break down over time. But you know what? I'll tell you what, for how much I use these things, I got a lot of use out of this, and it's still working just like new. And so that's fantastic. And I love the little face. But you know what? What's also really cool about this, and you might not be able to see this, but it's got this little seam. And I'll tell you what, I love these little seams. Whenever a stress ball has this little seam going along the side of it, I love to rub it with my thumb. It is so calming. In fact, I was just on FaceTime yesterday with my buddy Dylan, who just got his first stress ball. Not this one, but he got a stress ball. And I was asking him, what do you like the most about it? And he said to me, you're not going to believe this, but there's this little seam on the side, and it's so calming to rub my thumb on it. And I flipped out. I was like, that is probably my favorite thing when it comes to a stress ball, is being able to rub whatever's on the side of there, because you get that really calming effect from it. And so I like that on this one. And you know what? Overall, I enjoyed this. Again, it's a little bit big to carry around. In the time that the head was still on and I was squeezing the whole thing, I will say it was a little large, right? For my preference. You might not have a problem with it, but so I'm definitely excited to try out more animal stress balls, I guess you would call them, in the future, because I'd like to actually try one that doesn't break apart, so I can see what it's really like to squeeze these things as they're in their hole. But otherwise, this is quality, and as crazy as I may look, I may continue using this, on a day-to-day basis, just because of how well it bounces back. As no matter how much I squeeze this thing, it continues to bounce back. So I'm really liking that. And you know what else is a big deal here is the fact that this does not flake, okay? I've had plenty of stress balls that, after enough use, the material on the outside starts to come off, it starts to flake, right? I didn't get that with this, okay? The outside is staying on, which is really good. And I'll give you one more thing here. Let me tell you something. When it comes to the material inside your stress balls, whenever a stress ball opens up, like this one is, and you start squeezing it enough, the material inside will start to fall out. And so that has not happened with this. And I'll tell you what, I use this, I would say, the best place for me to test that and see if the material inside is starting to fall out is when I'm at my desk at work, because it's wood, obviously, the desk, and it's this light wooden color. So, you know what? I can see any time a stress ball, when the materials start to fall out, I can see it. And that has not happened. And I'm really surprised at that, considering it's completely wide open. If anything was going to fall out, it would have been doing it, and it didn't. And so because of that, you can tell the material is really well done in there. And another reason that I really like this, because even if it falls apart, it's not a problem, because you can still use it. You don't have stuff falling out of there. I like that. So anyway, guys, me and the Sloth are going to end it here. But if you have any other ideas for products that help to relieve stress and anxiety, whether it's stress balls or fidget cubes, it doesn't even have to be a product. Even if it's a recipe for something that helps to have a calming effect on the brain, then you know what? Leave it in the comments below so I can test it out and review it for you guys. And if you want to take this journey with me on finding products that help to relieve stress and anxiety, please feel free to subscribe, and also hit that notification bell so YouTube notifies you every time I put up a new video.